Give me top 3 movies from your childhood.
Let's see. Terminator 2.
What the fuck? From your
Don't
childhood?
make fun of him.
Yeah.
I can make fun of whoever the fuck I want.
Don't ask Sergio to open up to us and then laugh at him.
You asked him. I didn't ask him to open up. I would ask him to close his legs. If anything, he's man-spreading like a motherfucker over there.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of
little podcast called Waiting to Dry.
I am Sergio Lopez.
Little Sergio.
Who was that?
This awesome person who did a video of Sergio on YouTube, and he kept calling him Little Sergio Lopez.
My hero, Sophie Lawson.
Oh my god.
And there he is, little Sergio Lopez. It's cool.
He looks cool. Little did she know.
And she's like a YouTuber?
Supposedly.
By the way, I'm Joshua Lawyer.
Oh, sorry. I'm MJ.
Lindo-Lawyer.
Lindo-Lawyer.
Yeah. And we've been doing this for 2 years now. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Has it been 2 years?
2 years.
Pretty much.
That's crazy. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, that's right.
Have we ever? We never had like a reality moment fight on the show. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Like wine in the face. I don't know.
Like some Real Housewives shit.
Some Real Housewife shit. That's what gets the crowds tuned in nowadays. But yeah,
Our only real fight, quote unquote, was promoting Trical Art Supplies.
Yeah. I know it's weird to see how much like of a commodity outrage can be if you play your cards right.
Yeah, we haven't actually had any real controversy like.
I know. I'm fucking up.
2020 goals. Yeah.
How do
create controversy?
Yeah.
How do we create controversy? Sergio's dying. Oh, damn it. Damn it.
That could have been good for the ratings.
Yeah. I thought you were going to kill yourself or die for the ratings, Sergio.
Yeah.
We could have stepped in to help, but it wouldn't have been good for ratings.
No, we would talk our way through it. Like his breathing's slowing. He's dead. Should we do something, or like should we go get some lunch, or?
Right.
Fuck yeah.
I was listening back to your guys' like first 10 episodes.
Oh really?
And yeah, because I was listening back.
That's where those 10 listens came from.
Right.
I was listening to the first Nate Van Dyke, and then I listened to the Blake Newbert, which isn't the first 10, but the first few.
Mm-hmm.
And then what is it? Luke, what's the guy's name?
I don't know.
The one that does the graphite drawings. His name Luke.
Who? Zach?
Zach.
Oh, Zach Oldenkamp?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one.
I was like, who the fuck is Luke? He threw me out so hard.
Yeah.
I started off with Nate's, and it's a great episode. It's one of my favorites, but the sound quality has gotten much better since then.
Oh yeah, we were Nate's first episode. We were still actually Nate's was one of the first ones we were like, we're getting somewhere.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
Because if you listen to the very next one, which was John Wentz, we tried something new there, and the audio was garbage.
Right.
Oh,
We were like, fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah. Last week we didn't have an episode. Sergio was actually gonna die.
Yeah.
You got hit with the flu that's been going around, and I hear it's a brutal one.
Yeah. You guys didn't get it?
No, thank
I have
God.
not been sick.
That's awesome.
I've had like a little cold for like 2 weeks, but no flu.
An actual flu where like your skin hurts and.
It was more like a throat thing for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you were way worse than that.
I mean, I was. Yeah. I definitely like I got like chills and like how your temperature goes haywire. Yeah. Had that going on.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
And on top of that, my back was still not
Healed.
yeah. So aggravated that. So
Yeah. You want to
helped.
borrow that thing for a while?
I might use it afterwards. Yeah.
Because we got another one that's like
did
an
you?
actual one.
Oh,
They're
what
talking
was-
about a massager.
Yeah.
If that's not clear to anybody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just look at where my finger's pointing, listeners.
Yeah.
If you were a real listener, you could hear it. It's like
Right.
it's like Ray Charles, like, you hear that hummingbird outside?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy I didn't get the flu. I've gotten when Josh and I first started dating early on, I got one of the strains of the H1.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
And give it to me.
That was awful. Like, I was sick for like 3 weeks.
She gave when we started dating, I never had the flu ever. She gave me the flu 3 times. 3 different times. She's like, my coworkers are sick, and then all of a sudden it's like, I hurt. My body hurts so bad.
That one was tough because
It
I
was
was
brutal.
saying where your skin just starts, like,
Yeah.
just the wind is incredibly painful.
Putting on your pants hurt.
Yeah.
Jeez.
You're like, this hurts.
Yeah, it was
bad.
so weird.
Yeah.
It was bizarre.
I always thought the flu was like a bunch of people complain like bitches, and then after that I was like, oh, that thing is no joke.
Yeah. Like, you just lay in bed like as still as possible.
Yeah, just hurting.
God, that sucks.
Yeah, good times. So that was why we didn't have an episode last Tuesday.
Right.
Which is funny because the week before that was like when we dropped that episode was like our biggest listen for a single day in our history of our podcast.
Yeah.
It was
I
like
still don't know exactly why.
almost 600 that day.
Yeah.
And it was like next week it's like nothing. We're like, great move, guys, capitalizing on our hype.
But yeah, exactly. I know that one. Yeah, because I messed up the scheduling for when that came out, so that even came out later than it should have, and it's still.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah.
It's always one of the, I've been listening to Gary Vee, and I think Josh thinks I just discovered him, but I did not. I just go through phases. But he always talks about how, like, all of it is about content creation, and one of those, like, you might be creating forever and just one pops. And then that just will completely tumbleweed you into, like, this crazy exposure.
That seems to be what happens for podcasts usually.
Yeah. Well, it's anything, I think, digital. So, like, Instagram, also TikTok now, YouTube. Like, it's just about creating content, and then one of those is bound to blow up. As long as you're creating good content.
Yeah.
But
or shitty content. Or if you create outrage. That's the other issue.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
controversy.
Yeah. I mean, that's the I don't know. I was thinking about it this morning. I was like thinking about the most odd things commoditized nowadays. It's like, what was it? It's one of those things, you ever wake up and you're like, your brain is going like 1,000,000 miles per second, and you're like, all of a sudden you're thinking about something like super hard, and you're like, I'm not even gonna remember this in an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what's happening this morning. But it was outrage, and there was something else. I was like, those two things are so, like, highly used as like a way to grow yourself.
You mean like just having controversial opinions, or actual like?
Infamy?
I don't even think it needs to be an opinion. I think a lot of the people that take advantage of these things aren't like they're hiding behind the like the troll like name tag. You know what I mean? It's like, oh no, I don't actually think these things. I'm just trolling whatever group of people are going to get outraged. So, obviously some of it's political or whatever, but it's like, it's like they're all hiding under but they all know what they're doing. They're just like they're calling attention through outrage.
That's like that documentary, Don't Fuck with Cats. Have you seen it?
I know what it's about, but I haven't seen it though.
That whole thing is basically about this guy that trolls as hard as possible.
Yeah.
So much so that he kills somebody, because it was like...
Spoiler alert.
I think most people would know that, right?
No, I did, but still, I hate a spoil. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they said something, and I was like, "Fuck this person." It might have actually been about this
that documentary. Sorry,
yeah, I think it was actually that spoil, and I was like, I didn't know that. And why did you say it out loud? It's like, I don't know.
Did they even give you an alert or anything?
No. And then everyone on the podcast was like mad at them.
Just like it's happening right now.
Yeah, just like it's happening.
Yeah, exactly. Hate mail coming your way, MJ.
Yeah. If it's like a historic movie like that Tom Cruise movie where he's attempting to kill Hitler. Do you know what I mean?
Oh.
And that way you can spoil all you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Because nobody's going to watch it?
No, because everyone knows Hitler doesn't die by that. It's like, all right, well, we all know the end. He fails. It's a movie about failure.
I thought you were talking about the one where he's a drug runner in the plane, where he's like you know what I'm talking about?
Tom Cruise?
Yeah. Came out a couple years ago.
I never watched that one. Was that one good?
I liked it, yeah.
I wanted to watch it, but I forgot all about it. American something? Or
yeah. Was it American Made or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. How you been, Sergio?
I know I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. I've just been, mostly at home, recovering and, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what was worse, the back issue or being sick. So
back issues are shit. They're so bad.
Yeah, both of those hitting at the same time just put me out for. Well, I was on my way to recovery from when it happened before. Then I got more sick, and then my back hurt more. So.
Did you get spasms again?
No, it was more just like just in a way that was just so debilitating that I couldn't really like move that much. So
you ever, because I seem like I always have like back issues, so I always YouTube like specific spots, and there's always some like random stretch that usually helps a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if you did that at all, but
here and there I did a few, but yeah, it was seemed like the actual area that hurt would move around to different spots.
One of my coworkers told me that back issues are the ones that doctors can't really prove or disprove. So if you hurt your back, you can claim disability and like forever. And like even if you're well, the doctor can't say that you're well. So you could like forever be on disability if you hurt your back at work.
I was thinking about that the other day because they were talking about. I watched the trailer where some guy. It was like a movie, but some guy was like. They proved that he didn't have a disability anymore. He had to go back to work, and I was like, but he had back issues, and I was like, oh, that's weird because if like I feel like I always have back issues,
but you could look fine.
But it's like one day I'm like walking perfectly fine, and the very next day I'm like, I can't move correctly.
Right?
You know, like I feel like I'm 90 now.
Yeah,
yeah. That's basically what happened to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That shit's been happening to me for, like, right when I moved to Santa Rosa, I think I threw up my back. Remember that the first time?
Somewhat.
And was it from anything specific that first time?
I just picked something up and turned sideways.
Oh, yeah.
And remember to always lift with your back and do really jerky moves.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
it wasn't even something heavy either. That's the crazy thing. It was like something pretty light. I just picked it up and went to go throw it, and I was like, oh! And it just was like, my back is in excruciating pain now. And I was like, oh no. And I was like, I can't move. And it was brutal.
I feel like it's all the football leading, like all the football stuff kind of falling into.
I have a bad habit of like throwing my body around to like do things. It's like I can just bulldoze this issue. You know what I mean? I mean, I did like demo work for years. And it's like there you're just like, it's like sometimes you gotta throw your body into it, and it's like, and when you're young, you're like, this shit doesn't mean shit. And then you get older, it's like the thing every old person's like, don't do that. You're gonna fuck up your back, and you're like, you're a bitch. Then you get older, and you're like, why? It's like it's that. I don't know, but whatever. But yeah.
Do you have any art stuff coming up?
I have, let's see, I'm doing something for Modern Eden, so that's in March.
Did you hear about their move?
Yeah.
Did they move already?
I think they're supposed to move, later, either beginning of next month or late.
This is their third move or second move?
Second move. They're moving out toward, Like Nob Hill area?
I'm happy that they're not closing though. Like that's always like what freaks me out, because it's like I don't need another San Francisco gallery to close.
Yeah, it sounds like they're actually moving to a bigger spot. So
that's awesome.
Sounds like
Nob
they're doing
Hill
good.
area, but where?
Like lower Nob Hill area? I don't know. They haven't said the address yet, but it sounded like it was somewhere in that area, like kind of like near where like Gauntlet Gallery and all that used to be.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
I like that area a little bit better. It's always tough to be at near the wharf.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Like it's cold, it's uncomfortable. We're just
It's
too
very touristy.
Yeah, we're
exactly.
just Bay Area people, so it's not our favorite.
Yeah.
I liked the location of Gauntlet Gallery.
Yeah.
It's a little bit. It's
That
like,
little area's cool.
is
I
it by
like
Polk kind of
Polk,
area?
yeah.
It's right near the Tendies.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that area.
I like that area. I liked when White Walls was there. That was always fun.
Yeah, did you? Did you like
well,
when
I was terrified, but it was the
You were
adventure.
terrified.
It was exciting.
Yeah. Did you like when White Walls did what they did?
I don't know what you're talking about.
We're trying to get controversial here. What are you doing?
But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I get.
What about you guys? You guys got...
We've got everything happening this year, and it's fucking
that's-
terrifying.
It's awesome.
It's awesome, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like Josh is being optimistic, which is great, and I'm trying to be realistic, which is also important. But the thing is that, we have this big mural in Oregon coming up. We have to finish it by May. We're anticipating it taking about 3 weeks. I have 30 hours PTO at work. And we have like 5 other smaller murals, but still important, lined up, plus a joint solo show in New York, plus a 3-person show in San Francisco this year. And we're in the second week of January.
Yeah.
And we have full-time jobs.
I know.
And it's like, I was talking to my coworkers about it, and one of my coworkers said that our boss had freaked out at him for asking for paternity leave, which he's
really?
allowed to do. And they weren't happy, and they were essentially threatening him. So that didn't make me feel too great. But I'm sure it'll figure itself out. It's just not a fun place. I mean, you always hear about artists who are on the verge of going full-time going through this, but it's definitely scary. I think that our next step is probably to try and find part-time jobs.
Oh, I see.
I'm not scared at all. I'm only excited. I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I feel the opposite of how MJ feels.
Yeah.
But
I haven't really talked to you, MJ, about like the whole thing, because I know like Josh and I talked on the podcast about the plans of you guys going full-time artists, but like I haven't really heard about how you feel about it.
I would feel more comfortable, first, if we didn't have debt, and second, if we had a couple other big jobs lined up. I think that I would feel more comfortable with it, because we own a house, we have a dog, like that's a lot to think about. We don't have anything to fall back on. But I think that I just think kind of all or nothing. I wish we had, like, in my ideal world, we would have a few months of savings, like 6 months of savings saved up, so that we can have something to fall back on.
But you guys don't have that right now?
No. We would be making money this year and wiping out our debt and maybe taking some home after that, but it wouldn't be anything, like we wouldn't have savings.
Right.
So that's the part that kind of sucks, because if we had savings, I would feel more comfortable about this. If this was money all profit coming up, then that would be one thing where it's like, okay, like worst case scenario, we have this money coming in and we can rely on it, but we can't because we have debts to pay. So that's the scary part. But I don't know. I also think it's like we each spend 40 hours a week on a job that is not our art or careers. It's like if we were focused on our art and careers, then that's that much more time that we can dedicate toward making money on our careers. So I don't know. The best case scenario for me is to get fired. And I always say that, but I would be devastated if I got fired, because I would feel like I failed. But it would still it'd probably be the best case scenario, because I'd have some money coming in,
You should try to get fired by saying something controversial on the podcast. It seems to work well for people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really would feel really
like,
shitty
is your
if
job
I felt
is your job racist?
super racist.
uh,
It's definitely like, but also the thing that freaks me out is making ourselves, like, working ourselves too thin so that we're under, what's it called when you don't perform well, like with our art. Like under delivering, you know, like and it's happened to me before where I'm super busy and then I go to a show and don't have as much work as I'd want, or it's not the best work because I've had to rush it and throw it all together.
For sure.
So that's also a fear because I want to do well on all these exciting opportunities that we have this year. So that's also the thing. It's like I feel like I'm losing on both ends.
Yeah. I mean, like the going into it cautious is a thing. I mean, I'm like a chronic overthinker about things in general. So like, I already think about all these things. That the exciting part to me, the thing that like makes me excited is just, you know, it's like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and being like, I know that there's piles of shit that we have to worry about, but like seeing the like, we have the potential to get there is just like wind in my sails. It's like, you know, it's like, I know that there's a shitload of work, but it's like seeing that there's a potential day of like, okay, I quit this job that takes up so much of my time, to me is like, now I can like put in this work and be like, it's all going towards this like to this goal. And, you know, everything like things that, you know, might not have seemed like that important. Like, you know, just like even like cutting out big expenses or like trying to eat out all the time.
Right.
That eat up your shit. It's like, all right, like to me, that was like we'll just go eat out. But now it's like, yeah, we have to eat out cheap because everything's going to the light at the end of the tunnel. It's like, it's like we have to start saving money as hard as possible because of this. Or before it's like, there's no end game really, you know. It's like
right.
So why pretend that, you know, why not enjoy the splendors of life if there's no light at the end of the tunnel? So
I see.
So that's why I'm so stoked. It's like the end result ends up being like, if you factor in the pros and the cons, or the fears versus the optimism or whatever, it ends up being like a lot of that can be accomplished by just working extra hard. You know, like, and that to me, I can always throw work at anything. Like I can work, like I can just throw like I said earlier, I just throw my body. I could sacrifice work for anything. It's like, oh, if it just takes this much work, cool. We'll work harder.
I see.
And that to me isn't scary at all. And I think just going into it with that mentality of like, work hard, spend less. It's that simple. And our goals that we've been pursuing will be there. Like, I think it's like a mini slow grind. It's like, it's not going to be here tomorrow, but has the potential to be here next year, you know, or something like that. If we play it right and just keep grinding it out. So,
or within the next few months, if you get like another big job, then, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's pretty cool.
So it's one of those things where it's like, it's right there. We just have to kind of just keep pushing as hard as we can. And when that's the case, it's like, cool. I'm super excited. Like, all I want to do is work now.
Yeah.
Except for at work.
Yeah.
Has that been a tough adjustment at all? Like, you know, tightening your belt and doing all that, working harder or anything?
I feel like I don't feel like we're doing better, but we're still not there.
No, yeah.
Tightening, of being like thrifty.
I see.
It's definitely hard
budget-wise,
here. It's like hard to do it here in the Bay Area, is to be thrifty.
Yeah,
well, that's true.
But work-wise, though, I mean, like we're working the amount of work we're putting in now towards our art is just nonstop. It feels like the equivalent to, you know, the like month before a show.
But always.
But just it's like this whole year is going to be a month before a show.
Because we have the 2 shows that we're prepping for, plus there's a lot. Like, one thing that I didn't realize with mural work and like commissioned work and whatever public art is that there's a ridiculous amount of meetings. Like, there's all this like actual like talking to people and going back and forth and this and it's like with art stuff. With artwork there's all this admin stuff that goes into like murals and public artwork, because with art shows it's just like, okay, now I got to find time to paint and ship the paint off.
Right.
With this stuff it's like you're dealing with people, you're dealing with the city, you're dealing with paint companies, with rentals, with all this other stuff that also eats up your time. So it's just it's this whole other world.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that we're going kind of like a mural route as well, because I've always loved murals. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's exciting. It is. I'm just realistic with the stuff that I don't know, with I guess the scary parts to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it's valid. All of it's valid. It's just exciting. It's like sometimes you get too wound up in like the negatives to like enjoy something, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. To me, it's like
you hear that a lot too.
What?
With people where they're like they say like we were to transition into full-time art and I'm still freaking out. Like I've heard of people doing that where it's like, yeah, I transitioned and then was just so like busy that you just never find the time to like sit back and say like, holy shit, look up where I'm at.
Right.
It's like, and I'm probably that person.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's what makes good artists in general. You're always like pursuing the next thing. You're always, like unsatisfied with things you do. It's just like, it's kind of what makes an artist good for the most part. But
right.
I don't know. Me personally have never had an issue enjoying like the good times. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. MJ's a different animal than me.
Yeah.
She has anxiety issues.
Oh, she's the worrier.
Yeah. I feel like there's weird things because it's like sometimes worrying can get you. It can make you unable to see the solution to the problem. You know what I mean? Like you're too focused on the problem,
right? That
you can't see the solution. And I think sometimes that's an issue with MJ. It's like, we'll just do this. And then it's like, oh.
Right.
And it's like, because it's too busy. That happens, I think, in a lot of times. It's like your anxiety blinds you from a solution to the problem. And sometimes it's very simple. But it is what it is. And I'm the opposite. I'm like, I don't worry about anything. But I was talking to MJ about this yesterday. It's like the experiences I've had in life have allowed me to kind of not worry about anything.
Right.
Because it's like you just go through so much shittiness that it's like, oh, this is like a little problem. Like,
right. And it
can get way worse than that.
Yeah. And I've had helicopter parents, so that every little thing that happens, I flip out at.
Right.
I see.
And feel like the world is ending.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, we got raised very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
But yeah.
Do you ever feel like oh, I probably should worry more about things? Or are you pretty much chill with that?
Well, I worry about things, but I don't worry about things the same way as her. Like I think about the problem and then I try to figure out the solution. Like that's what it is. It's like, I don't like sit there freaking out about the problem.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times you
I think you and I are the same way in that way.
Yeah, you overestimate the problem a lot of times. You think like, oh, blah, blah, and then like things kind of work themselves out and you're like, I was freaking out for no reason. Like,
yeah.
It's like, but then I don't know. I probably have moments I freak out where MJ's not so freak outish about.
Yeah, I think so.
Like about what?
I can't think of it. I think that Josh does have stuff that he like worries about, or like.
I think I freak out more about the perfection of how things are done. Okay. If that makes sense.
I think so.
So it's like that kind of like were like attention to detail, and it was like weird because I think when we were getting married, there was things where I was like more keen to like detail things than MJ.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that Josh has like ways that he like a procedure essentially to do things, and if you go out of his organized, like first we do this, and if you don't do it in that order, if you leave something out, then he like flips out.
Right, because
So
it goes back to, I think, the way I think of things is like problem, way to solve it. And a lot of times the way to solve it, I also think of like how to do things, how to solve things in the, like, it's like step by step, you know, like,
so if the steps get out of order,
then you're,
Right.
you're
Drives
fucking
me
it up.
crazy. Yeah.
It's my OCD or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know what it is.
Sure.
But yeah, that shit drives me nuts. There's a right way to do things is my mindset. And it's like, and if you do it wrong, then it like hurts my brain. Yeah. That's the weird thing with art, is because there's no real right or wrong way to do things. It's just kind of your own personal way of how you figured out how to do this thing. So that's my issue with, like, I would never be a teacher because everyone kind of has to figure their own shit out. And if I saw them doing it different than me, it just hurts my brain. So it's like, I can't teach people. Are you crazy? I would just yell at you. I mean, I've said this before, but it's not even a joke. It's like MJ all the time. She's like, what do you think of this? And I just yell at her.
There are some people that I remember. There was a teacher at the JC at the Santa Rosa Junior College that was like that.
Oh, yeah.
And he liked me, but he was also like mean sometimes. But he would just come in and like yell at everybody and get really angry. And then like he was probably like the old version of you, because he would also grab like the charcoal out of your hand and paint over your thing. And then he's like, do you see now? You know, and he would get really upset, and then he would like burst through the door. It was for one of our figure drawing classes. Like,
sounds cool.
Yeah, he was one of my favorites, but I also found him intimidating, you know. But I think that you end up learning a lot from people like that, because it's like, you know, it makes you really pay attention.
Yeah,
but it's just
true.
there's so many. I think the crazy thing about art teachers is like Josh is saying, there's no right way to do art. There's just people that have found a procedure that works and try and teach others that, so that they don't have to take all the time to figure out something, right? So
yeah, and there's also like, there's not one way to learn or teach either.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Some people probably do respond really well to more of a drill sergeant style.
yeah.
I wouldn't even be a drill sergeant because they feel like they're built around structure. Oh, I guess,
Right.
I don't know. I would just hate to. It's also like, it would make me feel shitty. Do you know what I mean? Like that's why I don't want to be a teacher, because
I
it's
see.
like my brain would hurt. Why would I want to put myself through that to teach people? I wouldn't enjoy it.
I think that workshops would be cool, because I used to teach a class, and I also felt like I was also like, oh man, this is not what I want to do with my time. You know, you end up like, I wanted to do my art while you're spending some of your time teaching other people.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But there's some people that are just prone to it. Some people just love it.
Yeah. I don't. I got a question for you guys. So, I guess this could be tied into it based on like structure and procedure or whatever. But I think it was Sam Harris not recently, but like a couple, like on his podcast, I think like not that, maybe like 5 episodes ago, so maybe like a couple months back. And he I think he was with Eric Weinstein. I don't remember who said it. It might have been one of those guys, but Eric Weinstein, he also kind of mentioned something about this, or he's kind of talked about this, but it was about mathematics, right? And I think it was, I'm almost certain it was Sam Harris who said that he thinks that mathematics can explain anything in the world. And he said that he thinks that mathematics could explain artwork. It was one of the things. And I've been like chewing on that idea since I heard it, because I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that. But the more I think about it, the more, not the more I'm into that idea, but the more I see, you know, it be used as a as a way to justify that the art is good. Like, for instance, the golden ratio, right? Like, I feel like a lot of people love this ratio.
Right.
A lot of people kind of validate that their art is good based around it or something like that, or geometric shapes or something like that.
Sure.
And it made me try to kind of think about do you think that art can be explained through mathematics? Was kind of the first opening question of what is good art. And I guess if mathematics can prove what good art is, can it prove what bad art is? Was another thing I was curious as to thoughts of fellow artists.
I agree and disagree.
I don't know what that even means.
Well, because like I think that like representational art is very much mathematical and all about symmetry. But if you take an illustration or obviously an abstract piece of art, I don't think it has anything to do with mathematics.
But see, a lot of people justify abstract art through mathematics, I think. Like, a lot of people justify Pollock through being like, oh, it's like a fractal or something like that. You know, like they tried to kind of bring in, like, oh, the symmetry of it all, or like, oh, like the, you know, like, it's like, they tried to explain it through kind of loosely, like a loose usage of words that have to do with math to prove that thing is good.
Well, sometimes people, there's a lot of us that use grids for our initial artwork, so there's some math to it, but I don't know. I feel like, sure, but I don't think the artists are thinking of it as math. That's not the most important part. It's maybe helping you structure your piece out and design-wise. Have you seen that one robot that they try to like give creativity to? Did you see it? They have him drawing something, and it's actually pretty good.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Sounds cool, actually.
Yeah. And then they were like, "Can you give a robot creativity?" And it was like little dots, but then he created like this portrait.
But who's inputting the?
Yeah, that seems weird because they haven't even. Oops, how do I go back? They haven't even created like AI, like real AI.
Well, I guess for your question, it's like, I guess we gotta define like what art is first. Like, if you're talking about like the aesthetics of art, like I think there's more of an argument for something being mathematically sound being more aesthetically pleasing, just because like humans love to put things in order and categorize things and all that. So I think what we think of as visually beautiful tends to kind of fall into like this aesthetic sort of like certain curves look better to people than like sloppy curves or whatever. And it's like, I think the reason is because there's some, even if you're not doing it on purpose, there's a bit of like math behind the scenes of like what makes something look nice compared to others. Like if you, like you were saying, like the golden ratio, because that's like this certain type of spiral that gets echoed in a lot of different natural settings.
Right.
So, but that, that's really just like only one part of art, right? Like you can't really like put math onto, I don't know, a story, or maybe you can, I don't know.
Right. So that's one of the things I've been thinking about in regards to this kind of question is does, how do I explain it? Does the ability to tell a good story, does it fall under like math or whatever?
Right.
Because I'm not a fucking mathematician, so it would be interesting to talk to someone about this, but I think a lot of like art in general, in my opinion, has to do with the ability to tell a good story.
Right.
and defining what a good story is complicated in itself. But I think a lot of good storytelling has to do with the ability to stretch moments that are important and maybe even exaggerate these things. And some might call that a lie. And math seems so factual. You know what I mean? It seems so important for it to be true. So the question is can a lie is a lie part of math? It would be I guess the question that in my head, the more I think about it, the more it has to do with can math be a part, or can a lie be a part of mathematics? Because I think, oddly enough, in art, I think the ability to lie ends up being an important part, because if you're telling a story, you have to understand how important certain parts of the story are, and then stretch that truth, and then pretend it was bigger than it was, and then make it something that will create something that will draw the attention of the viewer, of the listener, of whatever. And so if you consider that being a big part of storytelling, and you phrase that as a tall tale, a lie, a whatever, can that exist in a math world?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Yeah.
My wonky brain. I can go deeper, but I feel like I've already lost us all at that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess I just don't know enough about math, because I know like there are like open-ended answers in math when you get into stuff like quantum physics and all that.
Right.
So I don't know how much of that can explain like human, like just how humans interact with stories or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's funny because it's like with all these like intellectual guys, there's like this weird version of like religion and science, right? And there's this like interesting conversation being had right now between the two. And I feel like I feel like religion is such a, like, I'm so like, most of my listeners know that I'm not a big fan of religion at all. Like I don't like it one bit. But I think if the conversation became something where it was like science and storytelling, because that's all religion is really, it's the ability to explain life through story,
Right.
If you changed it to that, I think it would become a more interesting conversation, because just because, I don't know, it's like religion has such an extremist ability where like the ability to learn a lesson through just a simple story is so powerful and useful in life.
Right.
Where I think when you get religion, it becomes more muddled and more extreme and more tribal.
Yeah, it becomes about the dogma of it instead of the actual
the lesson. Yeah. And I think that's where the more I think about this question about math, the more I start to think about, is art and the ability to storytell some kind of, I don't know, very important thing that is separate from science and art and the way to explain life in that version. Like, is that why art and books or fiction and all these things are so important? Isn't necessarily mathematical. It's
right.
Because they can, but I don't know. We would have to probably talk to a mathematician. Well, MJ did do calculus. I give her a lot of shit about it.
Yep.
Because MJ's a horrible, is horrible when it comes to like word problems.
Oh, yeah.
So if you go like, MJ, what's 1 + 1? Hit that.
2.
Nailed it. Now if you go like, MJ, what's 1 Honda + 2 Honda? She's like, word problem. Can't figure it out. But MJ, like, I mean, I'm just being an asshole right now, but it's funny because that's like her weird, like, I don't know. I feel like I normally talk shit about you on the podcast. It's weird when you're sitting here. It's like you're weird. Like I can't comprehend it.
Well, I'm a visual person, so I've always had issues with word problems.
But that's
so
exactly what word problems are.
What? Making it visual?
Yeah.
No. Not for me.
Okay.
For me, it is. Yeah, because I like when it's just numbers, it's really hard for me to visualize in my head what's going on. Like,
so you're better at word problems?
Yeah, because it gives a context to the.
Because it gives you like a visual thing, right?
Yeah. It's like a story.
But yeah, I don't know. It would be interesting. I don't know who we could reach out. Oh, you know who'd be good is Sandrine. I don't even know if she ever listens to this anymore, but I should hit her up and talk to her. That would be good and interesting because she's a professor at Berkeley who's also in the mathematics field.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So boom.
Who's also an art fan.
I know. We should definitely hit her up.
There you go.
Hell yeah. First mathematician on the podcast. Problem solved.
We've had what was the guy? A marketer, was he? I forget. The dude who came into my open studio.
Yeah.
So we had one of those on.
Yeah. Sandrine would be awesome. She'd be a good guest in general. I don't know why I haven't thought of this, but it's probably perfect timing though, because I've been trying to figure out this problem for a while.
The math problem?
Yeah. This whole can math solve what good and bad art is? You know, I mean, if it is true, then we would have to admit that there's bad art, which I'm all about.
Right.
But I don't think it is true.
It's like, you know how on YouTube they'll take like a celebrity and they're like, are they perfect? And then they do that one grid.
Right.
Like line.
Well, that's what I'm talking about when it comes to aesthetics. Like it seems like it's more useful tool for determining what is beautiful, I guess, more than what's good or bad art, because that's so I guess subjective, but I mean that's a whole other discussion too. Like, is good or bad art subjective or not?
Well, listening back to Zach Oldenkamp's episode, you guys were having a very similar conversation where he was one of the questions that he had brought up was who gets to define what art is, and then I think that his opinion was basically if somebody else classifies it as art, or if somebody just calls it art, then it's art. But then a whole nother conversation was whether or not it's good or bad.
Yeah.
I guess I could agree with that.
And I think, I don't know, like if we go back to this whole mathematics thing versus storyteller thing, I think what it ends up doing is it allows the ability to say is the story they're telling good or bad? And I think that's more easier to kind of whittle down as good or bad, you know, than is this painting good or bad? Because
exactly,
it could be well written. That doesn't mean it's a good story, you know, or it could be very poorly worded, but have so much depth to what they're trying to say based off of, I don't know, the story that it's good.
Right. Isn't that kind of like how people kind of classify early Bob Dylan? Because people say he's got a terrible singing voice, but his lyrics are supposed to be so good it kind of overrides parts of
and
it.
it makes sense, you know. It makes sense. And then you can have someone who's an extremely good singer who's singing about being a genie in the bottle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like you
rub her the right way. It's
I feel like you have way more of that, where you have the people who are good at it but don't have the creativity.
Sure. Sure. Or anything any story worth listening to.
Right.
It's you have some really good grammar skills, but holy fuck, is this story boring?
Right.
You know, that's not to say that a well-written story doesn't exist that isn't really, really good.
Right.
I mean, I think that's the pinnacle of a good story, is like the technical ability to write it correctly, you know, while having something very poignant to say.
Right.
You know, if you think about movies, it's similar. It's like there are like indie films that are like really low budgets, and there's moments where you forgive because you know that. You know, that fucking scene was really bad, but they didn't have a budget, so I'm willing to look past it.
Right.
Because the story's really good. But then when you get a really good story mixed with a really big budget, mixed with the right person to create that movie, that's when you start getting like these fucking really, really good things. But then, you know, you get other things like, I don't know, some of the Marvel movies or something like that.
Sure.
You know, I'm not saying all. I actually liked the last couple. I was like, holy fuck, those were pretty good. But yeah, it's that idea of like throwing skill and money at something doesn't necessarily make a masterpiece. I think there's like having something worth saying and then saying it well.
Yeah.
Is very important.
Is that a math problem though? I wouldn't call it that.
Right. I mean, that's the thing is like, it seems like that goes back to like that whole, like this whole discussion they're having with all these intellectuals where like science and math sit on one end and then religion sits on the other, and they keep running into each other hard. And I think if you end up asking the question like the story, like having the ability to explain something through story replace religion, I think you get a more kind of stronger hold to stand on, because it doesn't come with all that dogma and shit. It doesn't come with all that like history behind it. It just comes with the lesson it's trying to teach you.
Right.
You know, and it also comes with like the ability to not accept shitty stories, which if you grew up religious at all, you know, there's a shitload of shitty stories in those books that aren't good.
Yeah.
And don't teach you a good lesson.
Right.
But are they well written?
I don't know. That's how many kept you entertained?
Right.
You fall asleep in church every Christmas.
Every single time. I don't think I've ever. I don't think I've ever gone to church and stayed awake the whole time.
Oh, really?
Well, that tells you how good the fucking story is.
I used to, when I lived in Nicaragua, I went to an all-girl nun Catholic school for 2 years. And we would have like morning mass. That was one of the classes. It was morning mass, and I would fall asleep, and then I would get like smacked awake. I was abused.
Is that what? Oh yeah. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. That was my one topic I had that I've been meaning to like bring up. I was like, I'm really interested in, but I've been thinking about it in my own kind of like. I don't know. I have like these moments in the day where I just like I go like hard in my like thought process of especially around art. And this one's been kind of seems like a big one in my head. It just seems like it plays a big role in determining, I don't know, like kind of defining art. In a weird way to me. Like if art can be defined through math, which I don't necessarily agree with, but if it could somehow, that would change a lot of things.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Like, I guess it's more useful for me as like we were talking about teaching earlier, like, it seems like if you could fit art into some sort of mathematical equation, it'd be easier to pass knowledge along in that way. So in that way, I feel like it can be a useful tool. But yeah, I feel like, I guess for me at a certain point, it gets okay, where does the math part of it end, and what takes over at that point.
Right. Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know. There's this interesting thing because I think we're getting I think we're mixing like simple math or like simple like ideas of math compared to like for instance, like the idea that math can explain the world, right? Like I think for the most part you can probably sign up to that,
Sure.
Be like, oh yeah, like you can explain this through math, you can explain that through math, you can explain why the world is round through math. Sorry for all you flat earthers out there.
Speak for yourself.
You could you can prove it through this system,
Right.
The more I think about it, the more I'm not sure, the more it's like, yeah, I could totally see how that applies to most things. The only thing I'm not sure of is like this weird version of storytelling or because I also think that math is this thing that is very concrete. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it's like very like this plus this equals that, right? Like, and I think art is this always evolving thing. It's always changing. There's, it's based off of the time we live in right now, as to what's good and bad. And sometimes that spreads over large periods of times, and maybe some shit is timeless. I have no idea because I don't live in year 5 billion. Right. But that's the, I don't know. That's some food for thought.
Yeah.
If anyone's listening has some answers for me, I would love to hear them.
Yeah.
Help me figure this shit out.
Yeah. How smart are our listeners? Let's find out.
Or just ask me what pencil I'm using to really fucking make me mad.
What brand of gesso do you use, though?
God damn. Did you see that?
Yeah.
God.
Always.
I've asked a lot. I've got this last week. I got a lot of questions that are answered on my FAQ. But yeah. MJ, are you bored?
I'm getting buzzed.
Good way to dodge.
So what are you on now? You're on your Instagram now?
No. Texting my mom.
Oh, okay. Don't worry, we're not podcasting right now. Just gotta be professional. By the way, both of our booze we're drinking right now is given to us by your sister. So
thank you, Karen.
Shout out to Karen.
I'm drinking Game of Thrones wine.
What's
and what is it?
Yeah.
Others call it mead.
That's not mead. Plus, mead was more closer to beer, I believe.
Right. I think it's wine. Like a honey type of wine or something like that. I forget. Yeah. It's a liquor made of honey, mead, I believe.
Was it mead that had like a bunch of random shit in it, like egg and like other things like that?
I have no idea.
Maybe I'm confusing with something else. But,
I miss Game of Thrones though. She gave it to me for Christmas, and ever since I've started drinking wine, I've been going hard. I've been drinking like a little bit every day, and I've never done that in my life. For the antioxidants and it's good for your heart. It's a little bit of red wine every day.
Yeah, why not? You've been watching anything good, Sergio? While you've been crippled?
What I watched? Just caught up on a couple of movies that I wanted to see. Like I watched the Dolomite movie. It was all right.
Dolomite?
Yeah, the Eddie Murphy one.
Oh, yeah. I watched that. I liked it.
Yeah. Watched that. I finally got around to watching Mid-90s.
Mid-90s? Yeah, I just watched that. What do you think?
I liked it.
I liked it a lot. Yeah. I actually tried to watch it a while back, and I instantly fell asleep. You ever have that? Like an instant fall asleep to a movie?
Probably have, I'm sure.
This happens to me too often. I think this is me being exhausted, but like...
I see. Sometimes
I will start a movie, and then... Maybe 3 minutes in, I'm like out cold, and it has nothing to do with the movie. It just has to do with me being like just tired.
Sometimes it has to do with the movie.
Maybe, but
well. So, how close was it to your experience of the 90s?
So here's the thing: I felt like it was more like 90s kid like Born in the Night.
Oh,
I don't know. To me, the movie seemed like it meant to be like late 90s, early thousands.
Okay.
Like a lot of it, I was like, this was not the 90s. This was 2000.
Interesting.
But yeah, I don't know.
What were your top 5 favorite 80s, 90s movies?
God damn. This is Brian. We were talking.
Weren't you talking about the 90s?
No, they're talking about this movie called
Mid-90s.
Mid-90s.
Oh.
It's a movie made by
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
It's about kids in the 90s. You played something. And it has Picasso in it. It's a movie about a kid in the 90s. It's supposed to be in the 90s, but I feel like...
Felt like, like 95, 96 maybe?
You
was
think
like
so?
what they were, like where they were trying to set it in. I'm just basing it on like the soundtrack.
What were they playing? I don't remember. I just remember being like, this feels...
Wu-Tang, a lot of underground...
even all that's
rap.
like I feel like the 95 was like Tupac and Biggie, like right when they passed away. So like I feel like there was still like a trickle off after that. Like after when they died, I feel like there was still like Puffy and like all that shit. You know, it's like there was like after Tupac and Biggie died, I believe that was 95. There was like a slow trickle off from them, and then late 90s, early 2000s was like underground rap. Eminem, like that movement there was like a lot of early 2000s, like late 90s, like 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2000,
Yeah.
2, somewhere around there. I don't know. Like the whole like even like the skateboard culture they were repping, I thought was like still later on.
It was, yeah. I feel like it didn't really get big
like
until...
Spitfire and all that stuff. Like I feel like all of that stuff was like late 90s, early 2000s. Like
right.
Like DVS, like the big fucking
the
skater
big
shoes
floppy,
with the stuffed tongue.
Yeah.
I had one. I had those for a bit. They're really hard to walk in.
Hell yeah. The what?
The ones that look like an egg, kind of like the top looks like it's like
the fattest tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I would always trip.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
I think that was more of a you problem.
Yeah. I think everyone else walked perfectly fine in those. But it's like, I don't know, like it felt like the time right around like Tony Hawk's pro skater. Like that's the era they seemed like they were trying to nail to me. And it was like, I feel like that was like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, which is very different from early 90s, which is like Nirvana and all that shit. And like, that kind of, I don't know.
Right.
90s.
Yeah. I'd say that, that like the skateboarding part of it definitely felt like that time period.
Well, that's like all of it, isn't it? I mean, the whole movie is like about the skateboarding group.
Basically, yeah, I guess so.
So, I don't know. I mean, the soundtrack, I can't even remember what the soundtrack was, but I know that Jonah Hill, he's just like a big rap head. So I think it was just like his way to be like, put in some dope rap shit, some shit that I think is dope rap from like the 90s.
Sure, yeah.
But I don't even think Jonah Hill grew up in the era to like talk about that. I think he was talking about him like, I think a bit of it's like his culture he grew up in. You know what I mean? And him being like, this is my era. But I think his era is still like,
still more like
90s,
late 90s.
Early 2000s.
Probably. How old is he? Is he like 35 or so? Something like that?
I think so.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things too where it's like I was born in 86, right? And I feel like anyone in my era, they were like 80s baby. And you're like, yeah, but do you even remember that shit?
Right.
Like, come on, like, relax. Like, the 90s.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's kind of like, it feels like that. It feels like a weird thing where it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I thought the movie was actually really fucking good when I
36.
When I was awake enough to watch the thing.
Yeah.
But I thought, I just thought that the title was a bit off. But the movie is fucking awesome. Actually, I thought.
Yeah.
Especially for her.
I think that Jonah Hill in like Superbad and other movies that he's been, but like this movie especially felt like it captured like that teenage, like those kinds of kids, like trying to be tough or whatever. Like,
kind of like the movie Kids.
Exactly.
That's what it felt like. It felt like he was doing his version of Kids, based on like kind of, like Kids felt like 90s. You know what I mean? Like when you watch it, you're like, that's the 90s. His version felt like a little bit later, like the next wave of that.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Which I thought was like late 90s, early thousands.
For sure. Yeah. Well, Kids.
But I wanted to do hood rat stuff with my friends.
I love that kid.
Do you have the other soundbite of him, like from like later on in?
I don't know which one.
There's like a moment where he goes back to Dr. Phil and he's just like, what did he say? He says something like,
he's like, I've changed my ways. I want to straighten up. I need a wife and kids and
get a job,
get my life straight. It's like, you're 10.
No,
what are you talking about? I looked him up. What's his name? Like Demetrius or something like that.
I don't know.
His name ends with like an ES, like OUS or something like that. And I looked him up and it's like, blah blah blah, gets arrested, and he's like 16 now.
Oh, really?
It's like,
okay.
Man, I thought you were getting your life together.
Yeah. How's your wife and kid feel about that?
Poor kid.
Yeah. It's hard out here. But yeah, I don't know.
Let's see. Other than that, I can't think of anything else that I watched besides that.
Yeah.
Well, I watched Inception again.
Inception?
Yeah.
Which one's Inception?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh,
Christopher Nolan. Yeah.
Stand up? Hold up?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's very convoluted though, but
Christopher Nolan, he's coming out with a movie soon, right?
Is he?
I think so. Did he come out with that 19? Was that him? 19 whatever?
1917?
17?
No, I don't think that was him.
Was it Peter Jackson? Who's that?
I don't know. I actually don't know who was the director for that.
I'm curious. He's supposed to be coming out with something good.
I never even watched Dunkirk though, did you?
Yeah, I watched it. It was really good.
Was it? Oh, I just never got around to watching it.
Yeah, you should have watched it.
I should have.
Instead of Inception.
Yeah.
I would definitely recommend it over Inception.
Did you not like Inception?
No, I liked Inception. But I mean, it's like one of those things where it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm only going to watch Dunkirk once.
Okay.
I'm only going to watch Inception once. It's like one of those things where I watch it. I'm like, wow, it was really good. All right, I did it. But I don't know. It's like instead of watching Inception a second time, I would highly recommend watching Dunkirk a first time.
I see. Got you. What's I gonna say? There are some movies I want to see. Like Jojo Rabbit, because I like that
Just
director.
Watched it.
How was that? Oh, okay.
What do you think, MJ? We watched it together.
Jojo Rabbit, I've never seen it.
That was the neo-Nazi.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention. But it looked almost like they were trying to. There's been all these spoofs kind of off of almost like a what's it called? The Napoleon Dynamite type movie where it's like this like subtle comedy.
Okay.
So it was like a mixture of that movie plus almost like a Wes Anderson feel.
Yeah.
It seemed okay.
It's tough because I mean there's moments of it that seem, I don't know, like really poignant and genius. But there's a difficulty, like it's like they're starting in the negative, because you have to get past the fact. I mean, so the whole concept is that the whole kind of premise of the idea is that there's a Nazi youth kid, right?
Okay.
That's kind of the whole, like, I'm trying not to give you any spoilers, but it's based around like a Nazi youth kid.
Mm-hmm.
Did you not know that?
Well, I just got what I got from the trailer, so.
So like, but you knew like he was like somehow affiliated, and I mean, I don't know. What did you get from the trailer? Let's go that way, so I don't give you any spoilers.
Not a lot. It just looked kind of weird, but I wasn't really trying to get a lot out of the trailer to begin with, because I don't know, if I know I'm gonna try and watch a movie, I try not to even like watch the trailers.
Yeah, I think the issue is like, I don't know, like there's the hurdle to get past is like the darkness of all that shit. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the issue, is like, it's tough because sometimes there's like a lightness to shit that's too dark. Do you know what I mean? In a way that's like hard to get past. And I love me some dark comedy.
Right.
They were just normalizing it too much.
I don't think their intention is to normalize it. I just think like there's things it just doesn't land as funny in my head. Like
Okay.
You know, like, I don't know, like it's almost like one of those things where, like, you know, like comedians, they get to work out shit. You know, they have an idea, they think it's funny, they get to work it out until it is funny.
Right. Okay.
It's almost like this didn't get that opportunity. So like, there's things where you're like, I can't get past, like, I can't like it's just not funny enough to like get past the darkness behind it. There are moments where it is funny and it is like, you know, like the God, I didn't even know what to say because I don't want to fuck it up for you. But there's moments where they have a narrative based around war.
Okay.
Right. And how, you know, like how soldiers are young, let's say.
Okay.
And they have it around there where it's funny and it's dark. It's not like funny like I'm going to laugh my ass off, but it's like funny and dark and sad. It's all these like emotions that swirl around and you go like, fuck, that's awesome. Like, it's so dark and funny and tragic, all mixed into one simple idea pointed out by this one simple moment that I think is really good. And then there's other moments that aren't as poignant, aren't as good, aren't as like funny for me to be like I don't know. It's just it's a touchy topic, and I'm sure that they had the highest intention of like, you know, proving, you know, something. And I understand like other things that war is complicated and the people in them aren't necessarily representatives of the, you know, of the leaders of that country and shit like that. But I don't know. It's just, it's tough sometimes. I mean, it's fine. The movie's fine. I thought it was all right. I think there's better movies out there. But I'm not against them taking that shot, though. I mean, and I don't know. It just has moments. I think it's almost like I wish they worked out a lot of this shit earlier. If they had the ability that comics have to like test these things and then try them until like there we go, we got it. Like that part's good now. That's exactly what we wanted.
What's the name of that one podcast with Tom Segura and his friend?
Oh, Two Bears?
Yes, Two Bears, where they're talking about that, and it's like you realize like there'll be somebody that comes up with an idea for a movie and they're stoked and they're like, this is going to be hilarious.
Right.
And then you realize like he realized that was what happened to him. It's like he tried to had meetings, they try to get funding, and then he realized what it was is that he had this scene that he wanted to portray that he thought would be hilarious but didn't have the rest of the movie.
Right.
So I feel like that's probably tough when you're trying to do a comedy, because you probably like have these scenes in your head where you're like, that would be hilarious, this is going to be so funny, that's going to be great, but then what about all the other stuff bringing it together?
Yeah, but I mean, when you're trying to tackle like the main person in the movie is like a part of like the Hitler Youth thingy that he had. It's like, you better go into it like crossing all your T's. I mean, I don't know how much outrage or whatever is behind it. I don't know. I just didn't think it was that good. I actually don't think there was any outrage, at least not that I know of.
Not that I know of either.
But yeah, I don't know. It's not the best. It's not the best. I mean, it's whatever. I also know that like not all your movies can be hits and shit. It's not a bad movie. It just, there's moments where it's just tough. It's tough to like get the comedic part because the joke's not funny enough. And you're too distracted by the subject matter.
I see.
So it's like,
interesting.
It's like, all right, well, you tried. And I'm not against that. Just didn't land. Wasn't good enough. But then there's good parts. And there's some goodness to it. There's like really good parts of the movie. I don't know. Yeah, watch it.
All right.
If you have a flash drive, we could slap it on for you.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, and any other movie, pretty much. I got
something called the internet.
The
Dark web.
No, I was gonna name movies. You know, you're not on mic at all, right?
Oh, sorry.
The Lighthouse. I have.
I don't even know what that is.
You want to watch that? What?
What is that?
It's a movie with Willem Dafoe.
Okay.
And the dude from Twilight.
Oh, really?
Something Patterson.
Robert Pattinson. Yeah. What's that about?
About two people going crazy in a lighthouse.
Okay.
Good movie though. All right movie. I don't know. There's like this weird. Cause I've been meaning to watch it, and I've heard good things from some people about that movie, and some podcasters too. And I was like, all right, let me watch this thing. And it was good. I don't know. I want to do our Oscar episode soon.
Yeah. Okay.
So I can talk about the movies I thought were really good.
All right.
But yeah, it's in the runnings for whatever, for an Oscar.
The Lighthouses.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta look and see again what the nominees are. I know that Jojo Rabbit is one of them.
For sure.
It is.
Some other ones are.
It's crazy.
Some other movies I saw. I still haven't seen Parasite. Still gotta watch that.
Oh, that's one that's like on the top of my list right now. I have it.
Is it a horror?
If you want it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it horror? I don't even know.
Oh, no, it's a thriller.
Yeah.
It's a thriller. Yeah. That's the one movie that I haven't watched this year that I have a feeling is probably the best movie of the year.
Parasites.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch it. The problem is it's Korean, so I gotta sit and watch it.
Right.
And I know MJ's never heard of it, but MJ's a hype beast, so it's one of those things. Like the moment she like learns that Parasite's like the shit, she's gonna be like, "Let's watch that movie," and I'm like, "All right, it's right here." I've been meaning to watch it. So
that's good.
So hopefully we'll watch it soon. Now that we've hyped it up a bit. But my word means nothing to MJ. Just have who needs to say if Tekashi 6ix9ine says it's dope, except for he's a snitch. So who's the next hype? Who do you listen to, MJ? To
Tyler the Creator.
The Creator.
If he says something's good, I'll.
What has he ever said was good?
I don't know, nothing. So if he said something was good, I'd probably listen to it.
Yeah, that's the best film MJ watched this year was Tyler the Creator being interviewed by
oh yeah.
I love that.
Did I send that to you?
Yeah. that whole thing was because he was just trolling him the whole time.
And I sent it to her, but I get no love. You know what I mean? It's like
I'm so jealous of how like rappers and how quick-witted they are. It's definitely a gift.
Yeah, I'm not jealous because, you know what I mean?
You're not a rapper.
No, because I'm quick-witted.
No, but you cannot rap.
What? Chicken butt. Crack a nut.
No.
So here are the movies for Best Motion Picture.
Did you say movies? More like boobies. See, I'm a rapper.
No.
Spin that real shit.
Boars.
Did you watch Ford versus Ferrari?
I haven't watched it.
I heard that's supposed to be really good.
Heard it's supposed to be not that great. Heard it's supposed to be. I don't know. I heard some things, but whatever. I'll watch it. And make my own mind up.
Did you watch The Irishman?
Yeah, boring as fuck.
Oh, really? Joker. Did you watch that?
Yeah. That
Very
was
good.
Little Women.
No. Fuck that noise.
Yeah, not planning on watching that. Marriage Story.
We almost watched it for Christmas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but fuck that Marriage Story. No, I started it, but it was one of those things where I fell asleep right away.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I'll start this. Before I even knew it had any hype, I was like, let me watch this because I like the actor,
Actors?
the dude.
Oh, yeah.
Adam
Driver.
Yeah.
M. Driver. And who else is in it? Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, that's the one.
So, yeah, I still got to watch that. 1917, you said you... Did you say you watched?
No,
Oh,
I just downloaded it legally, obviously.
Streamed it on legal services.
Wherever it's available legally.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We talked about
Great.
that before. Yeah.
Yeah, right now, Joker and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood are my two favorite movies. Probably I've watched this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say that's probably up there for me too.
You know what I just
What about
watched?
Hustlers?
I did not see
Horrible
that.
film.
Did you? Did you watch
I thought it was a gem.
it was a gem. What's it called? Parasite is the last one that was nominated, so still gotta watch it.
They're probably going to give it to Parasite, no matter what. I feel like it's the most woke.
Most woke.
The most woke thing to vote for.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I watched recently that I will highly recommend, but didn't come out this year, is Fargo season 3.
Okay.
Have I talked about Fargo at all?
You have, yeah.
About it being probably one of the best television shows, not the best television show ever made.
I don't know if you said it was. I don't know if you gave it that big of a recommendation at the time.
Really? Yeah, I mean, when I watched season 2, I was like, I think this might be the best show ever.
Damn.
But in my head, I don't know if I said it on the podcast or not, but season 3 is fucking awesome. But it's funny because I just watched it, and it has a lot to do with storytelling.
Do they get into math at all?
No, but they I don't know, like, I don't know how to explain it, but they tell a story that highlights how important storytelling is.
Interesting.
In such a good fucking way this season.
Are there 3 seasons?
Yeah. They're about to come out with the season 4, which I'm not really excited about. The trailer came out and I was like, God damn it.
I know.
Hopefully they don't fuck it up. Because they have Chris Rock as one of the main characters.
Oh, weird.
And Chris Rock is not a great actor.
No.
They've had such great actors on this show. And I'm like, Chris Rock, really? God damn it. He's such a bad actor.
Yeah.
There's a bit of him that's like...
Chris Rock is the one from Rush Hour?
No.
Yes, MJ. Yes, all black people look alike.
Oh my God.
Wow, way to be controversial. Thank you.
I always get Chris Tucker and Chris Rock's names mixed up.
Uh-huh. Because all Chris's look like? Wow, way to be Chris.
Chris Racist.
Chris racist. Yeah. But would highly recommend it. It didn't come out this year, but holy fuck, that show is so good. If you haven't watched Fargo at all, just start from season 1. You have 3 fucking great seasons to watch. It's gonna be slow.
Does it have anything to do with the movie?
No, it has the feel of the movie.
So the movie is one of my favorites ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. In a way, I would say they are like, I mean, I love the fucking Coen brothers.
Mm-hmm.
That's who did Fargo, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would say that this show is way better than Fargo, in my opinion. way better than the movie. It's so good to me. It's so interesting. It's when you talk about like the good things of what art can be, the show just nails it every fucking season. It's so interesting. It's so good. Its ability to tell a story, so perfect. It's so, I don't know how to explain it. It's, I mean, it is slow, but the way they can do a slow build, I don't know. And then the way they can surprise you, which we've talked about this before on the podcast, the ability to create awe, right? And how important that is in art. And the more I think about it, the more I think that awe is created by the ability, or one of the most useful ways of creating awe in art is the element of surprise. And I think a lot of movies do this well. You know, like if you think about a certain number of movies where they're really good based on the ending, you know, the surprise ending, the M. Night Shyamalan fucking ending.
Yeah.
The reason why that's so important is because it creates awe. The element of surprise creates that like, what the fuck moment of like, and yeah, I don't know. And the way, if you think about the artists you like, it's moments where they surprise you in what they decided to do in a painting, right? It's like, wow, why'd they decide to do that? That is the element of surprise. That's more of what I'm thinking is like, the more I think about this idea of awe, how important that is, how important it is to go left when you should have gone right. You know, like when I look at a painting that surprises me, it creates that. Maybe not so grand, but it creates a mini version of awe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's an example of a painting that's done that for you recently?
Like, what was the guy at Mural Gallery? He does it all the time.
Yeah, Jose Luis Senior. Yeah.
He goes left when you want to go right. You know, he does that like element of surprise.
For sure, yeah.
A bit, you know, where you're like, oh, look at that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I think a lot of people nowadays are kind of doing little bits of that.
Right.
Of surprise techniques, surprise subject matter, surprise whatever, where it really just kind of like hooks you.
Right.
But yeah, I think Fargo has these like, it has so much goodness in it and so much, it's so thoughtful in how they created what they created, and so it's executed to perfection. It's got that good grammar and good story, and fuck yes, it's just done well. So yeah, highly recommend it. What you got, MJ?
As far as shows?
Or something you've seen that you like, other than the Justin Bieber song?
Yeah, I've had that song.
Driving me crazy with.
that music video, Yummy, from Justin Bieber.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's just weird because
obviously Sergio knows what you're talking about. He's playing it on loop.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that the one that really threw me off was the Don't Fuck with Cats documentary. That one was like threw me for a loop. I thought it was incredibly interesting. I wouldn't say it was I don't think the correct wording is to say it was good, but it was incredibly interesting. So it's like, and it's hard to say like that I recommend it because it's pretty graphic. But it's
don't worry, you can recommend it. Our listeners aren't, I mean, they might not like it, but
well, it's
you don't
just
gotta like
it's
PC
just
yourself.
I've just never heard of a story like that, so it definitely like threw me. It was completely out of left field, and I had no idea because you think of the concept, and everybody that was talking about it wasn't telling me, like, I thought it was literally somebody just fucking with cats. So as you watch the documentary, it evolves, but that one is one that really kind of stuck out to me this year.
Well, you already spoiled it, so you don't have to like be subtle now.
Yeah, that's
and it
true.
evolves. So
I feel
definitely watch it and figure out the surprise ending, which I talked about in the first 5 minutes of the episode.
Yeah. But it's a very important ending.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows what's going to happen? None of our listeners. Hopefully they skip past the beginning.
It was still worth watching.
Yeah, I agree. What are we doing on time?
We're at an hour and a half.
Oh shit! Fuck, we got hella time to kill.
I thought that these were an hour and a half. Did they go much longer than that?
Yeah, 3 hours. We're Joe Rogan.
Anyway,
what do you got? Do you have any questions for us, MJ?
what do you mean?
Any art questions that you've been pondering about?
Yes. What are
months?
give me top 3 movies from your childhood.
From my childhood?
Yes.
Oh, Sandlot, Forrest Gump, Lion King. All right, next.
Sergio.
Let's see. Terminator 2.
What the fuck? From your
Don't make fun of him.
Yeah.
I can make fun of whoever the fuck I want.
Don't ask Sergio to open up to us and then laugh at him.
You asked him. I didn't ask him to open up. I would ask him to close his legs. If anything, he's man-spreading like a motherfucker over there.
Okay, Terminator 2.
The Transformers movie.
From your childhood?
Yeah.
Wait, what was the second one?
The Transformers movie?
What?
You were
that was like high
Transformer?
school.
Yeah.
No, that was like 89 or something like that.
Oh, wait.
That was Shia LaBeouf?
No, not that one.
Oh.
The cartoon, the one that came out. Like,
okay.
I didn't know it was a Transformers movie cartoon that came out.
Really?
I
Oh.
only remember the cartoons. All right.
Let's see. Third one?
That just proves Sergio's older than us. Old ass.
I don't even know.
From your
Goonies.
childhood.
Nah, Goonies wasn't like a big
Little
deal
Rascals.
for me. Little Rascals, no.
What is that?
What?
I just fucking drank a lot of whiskey. I didn't realize how much I poured until I'm down on my...
I know, I drank a good amount of wine.
Yeah, I
got
can't
one more.
really think of anything.
Come on, Dead or
beyond
Alive.
Yeah. I did throw that at you guys. Now that's a little bit of what you're like,
Right.
give me 3, hurry. Do it now.
Yeah, now you know how the listeners, now the guests feel.
Nothing.
You only watched 2 movies in your childhood?
Well, I'm
He
trying to
just
think of
watches
like what
them.
was like
Beethoven.
I love
impactful.
Beethoven.
Any Disney films?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Akira. Fucking...
Akira, that was pretty good. Oh, you know,
or put a show on. Or if
Okay.
there's a show.
oh, I got one. Juice, the one with Tupac and what's his
Oh no! Is that the pool table one
The
Pool
pool
table?
table?
where they
What the fuck are you
put the
talking
naked guy on the pool table?
about? No, MJ. No one
Maybe.
watches the porns you watch.
Oh no, was that one's Belly? I think
Oh, probably.
Oh yeah, Belly. Yeah, when Tupac was in Belly. That's right. I forgot about that moment.
was it DMX.
I don't know. Are they the same person? Do they have the same first name? Are they both Chris's?
But yeah, I loved that movie growing up.
Juice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's where they hang a dog.
Oh god,
Right?
those
Isn't Juice
movies
where
are
they hang a
so
dog? Or is that a
dark.
different one?
I don't remember a dog being hanged in that.
For some reason, I thought that was the one with. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Was there a decapitated horse head?
No, it's Godfather. God damn it. MJ, you answer your own goddamn question.
Yeah.
Answer my question. Splash, Big, and Coming to America.
Big is cool.
Those are like my
Coming to America is it's a classic. It's as good as a comedy can get.
and then Big.
Yeah, I said Big. Splash.
Oh,
was the other
Splash! I love Splash.
So what's your follow-up question to this?
Yeah.
Or is that you just were curious?
one. You know,
Oh no, I was just curious.
this has nothing to do with like, oh, let's think of how this impacted your art,
Right, yeah.
or you know what I mean?
Sure, tell me how it impacts your art. How does juice impact your art, Sergio?
the grittiness of New York street life. That's a real big focal point in my art.
You did have a graffiti phase of your artwork.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So you did have that grittiness at some point. And I did paint mermaids at one point.
Okay.
How about you?
I did paint kids as adults at one point.
Kids as adults?
No, I was trying to say for you. For
big.
You're like, is that a child or an adult? You're like, well, it's both. See, the thing is, the subject in this painting, they went to a fair. There was this thing you got for a wish. Like,
fortune teller.
Are you talking about the movie Big? It's like, no, I'm talking about this painting.
Yeah.
So then they put in their quarter, they bang the side. The thing grants them the wish. All of a sudden, you look, thing's unplugged. Holy shit. Wakes up the next day. Tom Hanks.
Personal story. This happened
life
to
experience.
me.
Right.
What were my three?
time.
Sandlot.
Forrest Gump.
And
And what was your third one?
Lion King.
Oh, okay.
I feel like Forrest Gump is a good.
They influenced my art because
yeah.
all three are dope as fuck, and I'm hella dope as shit. So that's how it influenced my artwork. I don't know, just humble. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to be humble.
I feel like Forrest Gump is the perfect movie to compare your art to.
Why is that?
Because it's like Forrest Gump, I always saw, it's like Josh always talks about these dark comedies, and I feel like his art is a dark comedy, and that's what Forrest Gump is a dark, very dark comedy. And I
don't think it's very dark.
It is very dark.
Is it?
I mean, it's dark.
It's about
But it's
war.
more like
His
drama.
best friend gets like murdered in the war. His love of his life dies of like AIDS or something like that.
They never say.
She was getting abused by her dad. Like, that movie is very dark, and it's Josh's favorite.
Yeah, actually,
true, but
I would
is it
say that.
funny,
It's also funny.
in parts, I guess.
Yeah.
No. Forrest Gump is 100% a comedy. If you watch it back, you'll be like, you'll laugh nonstop. You're like, holy shit. When I was young and I watched it, I was like, this is such a sad story.
Me too. Like, when I was little, I thought it was really depressing.
Yeah. And then when you watch it again, you're like, you start laughing at things. You're like, wait, this was a comedy? I didn't expect it. And then you're crying at the end. You're like, it's so sad. Actually, I would say, Tom, that movie specifically, I think really affected my art, oddly enough. It has a lot to do with like the home and getting lost, like me developing that in a weird way. Because I oddly connected with the main character Jenny when I was young. Like the whole like wanting to run away from home idea.
Okay.
Like connected with me so much. Like, there's a moment where she prays with Forrest, and she's like, "Dear God, make me a bird so I can fly far, far away." I used to always think like, God, I can't. If anything, that's rings so true to me. And I used to write it all the time on like my sketchbooks and shit. Did
you incorporate it into your poems?
No, but I did I remember like drawing a lot of birds, like during my graffiti time. I would do like a lot of birds, and it was all based on that whole concept. And that's kind of where like that whole narrative started from, was based on that bird. And then
interesting.
And then I used to like do bird houses, and then that's kind of where like the getting lost and finding home originated from. Was so oddly enough, never thought about it too much, but yeah, Forrest Gump has a huge influence on my art.
Well, I always think of like that one episode you guys did with Nadezhda, where she's like, write down all the stuff that you're drawn to and then try and figure out why. So I always think it's interesting. I feel like the films, the music, whatever you're drawn to, there's a reason for it. And it all ties back to your artwork, or it can help you figure shit out in your artwork that you hadn't thought about before.
Yeah. I think that is that exercise is actually, I would highly recommend it for anyone. I did it after she said it, and I was like, fuck, you ain't wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, even the dark comedy thing has like been a huge like a light bulb moment for me with my artwork.
Mm-hmm.
That was something you came to more recently, right?
Yeah. But then when I think about the Nadezhda stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, like the dark comedy, like I should have come to that earlier. Because there's even moments of like, I think it's just the idea of being able to be serious and funny at the same exact time.
Right.
Like having the ability to have multiple emotions tied into one thing is something I enjoy in general. The complications of having something be serious but funny, but all tied into one. And I've always kind of had this thing that I've done in my work. I mean, as simple as like a fart bubble, like
right.
But it's all been like, don't take yourself too serious, but at the same time, this shit is not a joke. Oddly enough, yeah. Kind of mentality to my work, which when you think about that conversation we've had with Nadezhda and how she was like, oh, focus on like the things that you really are attracted to and see the similarities. It's like, oh yeah, dark comedy, like that makes sense. And if you then pinpoint that, then you can kind of utilize it better than if you were just accidentally doing it or something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
You can come up with more finite concepts.
Yeah. Finite?
Like more detailed, more railed in.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. I only remember finite in like church talk.
Really?
Yeah. But I thought finite meant the opposite, but I might be wrong.
Finite.
I can't remember what finite meant.
I always thought it meant like you're honing in on something. But I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Anywho.
What about shows?
What about them?
What top one?
Childhood?
Yeah.
Boy Meets World. Shout out to Topanga. If you're listening, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think mine would have been Sister.
Sister.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. You were that into that show?
I was really into it. That one or Smart Guy. They both kind of like, because they're siblings.
Isn't that like the spin-off show of that though?
I don't know. Maybe because that's their little brother.
Right.
From Smart Guy is like the twins' little brother.
What do you got, Sergio?
I don't know.
No, wait, I changed mine. Mine was Sailor Moon because I'm trying to think of what I was really, really excited to watch when I was little, and Sailor Moon was definitely one I got way more hyped off of.
Okay.
So switch back.
You got a TV show, Sergio?
Trying to think. It's got to be a cartoon of some sort.
Bill Nye, Transformers.
I did like Transformers a lot, but let's see. I still love Thundercats. I don't know if that wouldn't be my number one, but I don't know. I'd have to.
This actually makes me think about something I've been thinking about recently, which is like the level, like how much TV shows have grown in quality, and like the perception that TV shows were somehow lower than movies. I was just thinking about recently, and I was like,
it's definitely switched.
Because I'm always kind of thinking about the idea of how people value art. You know, like for instance, like I mean, in all arts, but it's like paintings. It's like there is kind of this. I don't know how to explain it. There's this ability to make people appreciate an art form more or less for some weird reason. And you can see it in TV nowadays. It's like we talk about comedy a lot and how they've grown, but like if you think about like TV versus movie actors were respected, talented people, and TV actors were just below them. They were just not good enough to be movie actors.
Right.
And some would make the jump. Shout out to Will Smithy, with his classic, God damn it.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
No, I was going to say the Wild Wild West.
Oh.
Yeah.
With the classics Wild Wild West.
MIB.
Yeah, but no, I was just trying to
think
talk
of like
shit.
the worst one.
Yeah. But it's this idea of like, but then,
Will
like
Smith in his classic. Goddamn, I was trying to think of a Chris Rock movie.
what's
What's that one? Head
Down
of
to
State
Earth?
or something?
Down to Earth. That MJ loves that movie.
I love that movie.
Oddly.
But I just thought of my number one TV show, and it's
About
so
time.
obvious for me. The Simpsons.
Hell yes.
Mm.
Classic.
That one always made me uncomfortable when I was little.
So now we know what to do. We go like this. Hey, Sergio, what's your favorite blah, blah? All right. So I was saying, and then we'll just like let him do that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we'll be like, don't be a menace. Okay. Hey, what was that? He's like, my favorite black comedy from the 90s. Remember you guys that? But what the fuck were we talking about? Oh, yeah. But TV, it's like, it's had this ability to gain respect and gain value. And it is based upon the skill level of the thing coming out.
You know who I think is a huge reason for that?
Let me guess. Chris Rock. But you actually mean Tupac.
My
By Tupac, you mean DMX.
my celebrity crush, George R. Martin.
Who?
My celebrity crush, George R. Martin.
George R. Martin.
He's your celebrity crush.
Because he made Game of Thrones the biggest thing happening, and it's like that was what.
Yeah, but are you attracted to him? 'Cause of that?
He's
No, I'm not talking about him being my celebrity crush. I'm saying that he's
no. He's not.
he's the one that made it
No.
so that TV started becoming bigger than movies.
No. He. That shit's been happening for a while now. You're just late to the program. It's like
Okay, so what was bigger than
if you want to
movies
say
before
HBO,
Game of Thrones?
HBO is a huge part of it. I mean, Game of Thrones just happened to fall kind like Sopranos, Breaking
Sopranos
Bad.
probably
These things like these shows progressed TV to become the
For sure,
so
yeah.
when Game of Thrones came, they're already kind of moving in stride to go towards.
Yeah, because Breaking Bad was already like done before Game of Thrones was huge. Yeah.
It's like all these like shows that were
And
really
Mad Men before that.
Yeah, Mad Men. I mean,
I guess the first ones were like Sopranos and The Wire, right?
yeah, Soprano, The Wire, 6 Feet Under.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like these Rome even was a big one. You know, from HBO. I don't know if you ever watched that one, but like they were attempting to fucking what's it called? The Wire. The Wire is one of the best shows ever created.
I still need to watch that.
Deadwood.
So good.
Holy fuck. It's such a good show. These shows, they were pushing TV to the forefront. They don't get the acknowledgement they should because Game of Thrones, you know, reaps the benefits of their work.
Right.
But Game of Thrones did not do this. They just, you know, it's kind of like today we have the Conor McGregor fight, right? And people are like, oh, Conor McGregor made UFC who they are. No, he didn't. He just reaps the benefit of the sacrifices of Forrest Griffin, of these people, you know, Tito Ortiz, of all these people who've built it up to the point where
Right.
he gets to take advantage of all of that shit. And he gets to push it forward, but he didn't make it what he added to it. You know, just like artwork. I mean,
Right.
you hopefully build on top of those that came before you,
Right.
rather than Pollock, who destroyed a little bit of the structure. You know what I mean? I'm saying he just dripped asteroids down to the down to the structures. Just a little shade. Just a little shade.
Well, it just makes sense though as far as TV goes because it's like you either have a 12-hour movie or a 1-hour 12 series show. You know, it's like especially when you're taking these because a lot of TV right now and movies are remakes of books. So books are a great source because their scripts are ready to go.
Right.
If you've got a great book, you're going to have, if you don't fuck it up, you've got a great movie.
I think, was it Orson Welles who was saying, like, they asked him, like, what he would love to do if he didn't do movies. And it was like, I think it was him who was saying that he thinks TV, like long form storytelling, could be like the best. It's like potentially the best version of creating a movie.
Yeah.
He never did it, but I think it was him that said that. But
it makes sense. Like George R. Martin was offered movie deals, refused them because he's like, you cannot make these into movies. They need to be a show.
Right. Well, it's the old like fucking quote by anyone who's read a book and watched a movie is that the movie is way better than the book could ever be because fuck a book. They got hell words and no pictures. You know what I mean? But it's that idea. It's like the idea that they're like, oh, it's good. And you're like, obviously. Which, I mean, you can say whatever about a book versus a TV show, but at least they have a chance to give it its dues, to like, to make it somewhat, to make a book, which, for some people who are dyslexic, 5 years takes to read one book. Shout out to all you other dyslexic out there. But it's like this thing that takes a long time to explain, and then you try to fucking whittle it down to an hour and a half, and then on top of that, you try to make it PG-13 so you can sell more tickets. And on top of that, you have to assume that the person who's in charge of creating this thing that you created into a thing of gets it right and doesn't appease the fucking gods who are paying for it. It's like all these things. But at least a TV show at the end of the day has the ability to take the time to at least explain what you're trying to say.
I agree.
But yeah, I don't know. Motherfucker, I'm pretty drunk now. I didn't eat much today, and
I know that's.
I didn't actually eat that much yesterday. So drinking a cup of whiskey was an accident.
There's this show I watch, or Scream Queens, and Jamie Lee Curtis is a character on it, and they think she's very, very ill, and they're like she thought she got this sickness from Africa from eating like other people from cannibalism, but then you realize that she realizes that she just has never drank water because whenever she all she drinks is whiskey. So like if she's taking a pill, she's drinking whiskey. If she's brushing her teeth, she's doing it with whiskey, and she's just incredibly dehydrated.
Spoiler alert.
I just thought it was funny. No?
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe
you just have to watch the show.
Jamie Lee Curtis fan and you guys aren't.
I don't even know who's Jamie Lee Curtis. Is she the one from True Lies?
Yeah.
I was into that.
Is that your number one?
Is that the one where she's like
slowly, sensually?
I have to watch it. Josh always says that. Creep.
Watch that. Is that even a good movie? I don't even know if it's a good movie.
That's the one where she's like in the shadows dancing, right?
Right.
Where she thinks she's a spy because she's trying to cheat with some dude, and then Arnold being the nerdy husband. She's like into, I forget, dude died though, but in real life, but her like man, or like was like, I'm a spy. I don't know. Horrible movie, I'm sure. But
we just rewatched The Mask of Zorro because I was like, I thought it was so sexy when I was little.
And then Antonio Banderas.
Yeah, and Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd that hold up?
Great.
Except for, I mean, not great.
I still loved it. But it was still just as sensual.
It's funny because you don't realize when you're a kid watching it, but like Catherine Zeta-Jones, every time they shoot her, they put like this weird fuzziness to it, almost like
a soap opera.
Like when cholos back in the 90s, they would take like pictures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there was like that fuzziness to him or whatever.
With the Vaseline on the lens thing.
Yeah. To only her throughout the whole movie. What? And it kind of hurts your eyes because your eyes are trying to focus the whole time on her. What? And they're just like, you're like, I'm getting a headache watching her.
It's like a weird filter.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
I didn't remember
it's like they call it a vignette, I think, where they make like
beignet. Delicious.
Where
fresh donut.
It's like sugar. Fuzzy all the way around her, except like right on her face.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely like very soap opera-y.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. But yeah.
But it's like they're both in their prime and just gorgeous.
Fun fact, did you know that Michael Douglas left his wife and pursued Catherine Zeta-Jones based off that movie?
Really?
Yeah.
They got married like right. They were already together during the premiere of that movie.
I don't know.
I looked it up after we watched it. I definitely did my research.
Huh. So how did he see it? How did he see it then?
Probably the same way you guys see your films.
What the
by
fuck's that mean?
legally downloading it.
Wow, Tekashi 6ix9ine much? Wow.
Doesn't all of Hollywood get like movies hella early?
I don't know. Do they?
To get screeners, yeah.
Yeah.
From the, what's it called? The Screen Actors Guild to give them movies.
Have we talked about art at all? We talked about art somewhat, right?
The beginning.
In the beginning, yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I feel like this is talking about art, right?
It's about our
Sorta.
inspiration.
In a weird way.
Catherine Zeta-Jones inspired me to paint women.
It's a work of art.
Fuck yes. How are we on time?
Hour 56.
Fuck yes, we nailed it. All right. Should we
right.
call it?
Yeah.
This has been Wait and Dry. Sorry if you're
If you're still listening.
still listening. And hey, let us know what your top 3 childhood movies and your top 1
Show.
was as a child.
Also child crushes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did we talk about that ever?
No need to bring that up.
Oh, yeah. We've never talked about it on the podcast.
We don't need to bring that up.
What about if we just do another couple minutes and we really quickly tell each other our childhood crushes?
What about if we did a little quick mini-sode?
Okay. Yeah, we
Yeah.
could do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All
Let's
right.
Wait and Dry. If you're still listening, fuck off.
Bye.